Hello, welcome to today's. I could not laugh. Everyone's having issues. Eric's stuck in traffic. Not heard from Michelle. Tully's having Wi-Fi problems. The surprise guest is going to Bali tomorrow morning, and he was in work, and he needed to get back home. And where he lives to the airport he's going is a 6-hour drive-ish. So he's got to be there at 5 in the morning. So on that, we do have a couple of updates. So I'm going to play the intro, which has been revamped, and so is the outro. So please do stay to the very, very end. I'll give you some updates and see you in 1 minute, 3 seconds.
Welcome. Back and enjoy as we dive deeper down into the rabbit hole. Where the paranormal becomes normal.
Hello again and welcome. So at the moment is myself, Nicole, and Tilly.
Merry morning or magical midnight. I come in peace. How are you?
It's near midnight. It feels like it anyway. So Eric did pop on to show us that he is actually sat in traffic. But he looks about 8 years old because he's had a shave.
I know. He looks like a baby.
And he looks so young. So he will be on as soon as he gets home. The surprise guest is going to do their best to get on before we finish.
The surprise is going to be whether or not they show up.
Yeah, Sarah can't do it. I know she's busy because she's got loads of stuff, and then they've got to drive down to that place that I'm going to tomorrow as well. So they've got a longer drive than I have. Plus, we're prepping for the speak that we're doing for Birmingham UFO group on 4th of July on Thursday. So we've got all that going on as well. And other than that, it's just been one of them days. But do have some news. So for those who are not on Facebook, the social media, there is a new podcast coming out. So, I drop Wednesdays, and you all knew it was going to come back earlier than later. What's happened? I think that was the reason for dropping it, to clear the way for this new one. It makes more sense. So that's been dropped, but it's coming back on a fortnight basis. And it is going to be called... I'll see if I've got the image on here. So this is it. Eerie Encounters. So it's going to be myself, Nicole, and Daryl Evans from the Lost Souls UK and Dark Room podcast. And what we're going to be doing, we are going to be fixed on a particular topic. We're not going to divert down all these 100 million different rabbit holes and create our own cave system like we normally do. We are not doing that. On it. Anyway. We are not. I am adamant we're not doing it. It will happen, but if I keep saying it, it makes me feel better. So, and we will pick a particular subject in Earth, not anything else. But there's your subliminal message. So we'll pick an Earth podcast. That's it. So it's going to be a particular topic, and with it being fortnightly, it gives us around about 10 days to do some decent research, delve into it, try and find out stuff that not a lot of other people know about, rather than the regular stuff that just pops up on Google and Wikipedia. We can go into different podcasts and see what they've got to say about it, and just get things like that. And if anyone would like to share any of their encounters, you are more than welcome to send a voice note. Now, if you want to do that and you don't want your voice to be played, because I know I still don't like it, don't like listening to your voice back on audio, I have got software that I can change the voice, but you'll still be able to understand what's being said. So all you need to do is send in like a 2-minute audio clip of what your encounter was. We'll play it. We'll listen to it beforehand if we get a chance. If not, it'll be instant on the show. And then we'll give our thoughts as to what it is and what it's about and if we've heard anything similar to it. And the other thing with that is it's going to go out live, but each fortnight at the end of each show, I'm going to be putting a poll up about halfway through the second half for you to decide. Me, Nicole, and Daryl will pick a subject each, and then you guys in the chat will choose which one you want. So I'm just going to keep putting Inner Earth until it gets picked, and that's all I'm going to do forever. And it'll never get picked, will it? So that's that. Right. I think that was it. Was it?
I think so.
I'm sure we had something else, but I cannot think what it is. Oh, right. So on a bit of a lighter note. So I was driving about the other morning, and I had to look twice and nearly had to pull up. I was on the phone to Simon, yeah? And I just seen this thing in this little village, and I thought, so I took a photo of it, and I took another photo and zoomed right in. But if you was to see this in a really dark area, because this village it's not got street lights, it's only got like the house lights and that. It's like off the main road and what have you. But if you was to see this on a bit of a stormy night, I think you would kind of like cack your pants a little bit, so to speak. So this is the original image. I don't know if you can see it. So if you look to where the white cottage door is, and just to the right hand side of it, you can see like a figure. So this is the actual image. Forget Splinter. So what it is, I know. But when you're driving past and because I'm driving and I'm looking for this house that I'm going to, and you're not paying that much particular attention to any of the other houses, and you see that, I know spraying my neck looking at that. But imagine seeing that late in the dark, or you've had a few beers, or you're tired, or whatever, and you're not quite with it. I think that would make you cry a little bit.
Just a little bit. That reminds me of a really creepy dog version of BoJack Horseman, IRL. Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
That would creep me out.
See, I would just imagine there's like a person in there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what.
Really
You know what?
Over, and then they're gonna jump out at you.
That's what I thought. Actually thought, is it someone dressed up? And then I got round the bend where the rest of these cottages and that were, and they had a sign saying whatever village, Scarecrow Fest from whatever date in July, like over 10 days in July. And I think each person or each area make their own scarecrow type effigies, and then they get voted, and so you get like best scarecrow. But that was it was just outside a place called Oundle in Peterborough. So it's just east of Northampton where I live. It's probably about 40 minutes down the road. But and then I went around the corner and there's loads of really crappy ones, so I didn't bother taking them pictures.
I wish that we had scarecrow festivals over here. I mean, Nicole, do you know of any in America? Because I don't.
Scarecrow festivals? No, there's like things where people like decorate cats and horses and whatever their like thing for their town is.
Yeah.
But there's one in Manchester, just going out towards the airport, and there's a place called Dunham Massey, which is a big, I don't know if it's English Heritage or National Trust, but you've got the house there, and they've got fields, and they've got all deer and all that in there. But just outside that, there's a little village, and they used to have one every year. This is how creepy it is. The school on the corner had scarecrow kids in the playground. You drive through that at night, and that's like, foot down, gone.
See, in America, we watch too much Jeepers Creepers. We don't do scarecrow festivals.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's like 3-4 kids like that as though they're running.
So freaky. Why?
Yeah. It was awful. And they were that one that was shown looked quite realistic, but these were like it was a kid that was set. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, Nicole, I know that you're here in America, and Andy, if you want to chime in on this, you're most welcome. Have either of you ever heard of the movie Trick or Treat?
Yes.
No.
With the pumpkin head kid.
Yeah.
One
He
of my
reminds me
favourite
of Secret
movies.
People. Yes, Sam.
I didn't know
And
what
he
it was
has a
called. Yeah,
sack.
I know the Pumpkinhead Kid.
Yeah, he has a sack, and he drags his sack behind him.
Yeah.
And then these kids go missing one by one. Yeah.
Yep. Oh my gosh. If anyone has not seen that movie, it's adapted, I do believe, from a comic book. I think you all would be in for a treat. It's called Trick or Treat.
Yes, it is a top movie. It really is.
Hands down, my favorite Halloween movie of all time. And I love that it tells so many stories within the anthology.
Yes, it is good. I've not seen it for a while. I think I need to.
Yeah, I might have to rewatch it now because I couldn't even remember what it was called. It's been so long.
You know, one of my favorite comedy Halloweens. Don't judge me on this, but I think it's really good. Who Be Halloween with Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
What is it?
Who Be Halloween.
It's on Netflix.
You know Adam Sandler?
I'm not familiar.
Everybody knows Adam Sandler.
Yeah, so he plays a bit like of a Waterboy character, but you just gotta watch it. It's so funny. But it's kind of
What is the name of the movie?
Who Be Halloween. Is it
I'm not familiar with that.
It's on I know it's on Netflix. I've seen it about 8 times. Probably more than that, to be honest. Hubbbie.
Okay.
HOO? I don't know.
I got it. It's in the private.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll check that out.
It's
I'm
funny.
thinking with Hocus Pocus or Halloween Town for Halloween movies.
Halloween Town. I haven't heard of that one in ages. Oh my gosh. Yes.
My favorite. I will watch that any time of the year. I have a Halloween Town sweatshirt in my closet right now.
Oh my gosh. I love that movie too. Do you remember Ghouls Gone Wild?
No, I haven't seen that one.
From Disney as well. I highly recommend it to you, Nicole. If you like Halloween Town and Hocus Pocus and Trick or Treat, all of that, I think you'd really enjoy it. It tells the story of a young boy's grandpa who passes away unexpectedly and then returns from the grave to help him navigate life after grandpa's death. He comes back as a zombie, essentially, to handle business. Oh, yeah. It's good. It's really good. At least I think.
Yeah.
The other Disney one that's good for Halloween is Under Wraps. Have you seen that one with the mummy?
No, I haven't, but I have heard things about that movie. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's so cute. They befriend a mummy.
Aw, I'll have to check that out. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry.
Can I show off a bit now?
Yes.
Just one thing. I've had my photograph taken outside the Hocus Pocus house in Salem.
Ooh.
That's all I've got. Nothing more than that.
Place.
That counts for something, I think.
Silly, have you been to Salem?
Yes, I went once a few years ago. It was one of the most historically interesting and energetically interesting places I've ever been. Would I go again? Only for the one tea shop that they have there.
I love
It's
their
not a very big place, is it? I was quite disappointed that.
Nah.
Well, there's a house. So if you can see it, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh,
It was too political for me personally. You know, everything there was being
No.
politicized. I
That's
hate
it.
that. But they had a tea shop that has the best tea outside of my own that I've ever tried. And I love the photos, Andy.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
I've got some more. They're on. I had to get them off Google, but
Andy, when you went, did you go to the village, like the old village where they filmed the
we
beginning?
drove around the cemetery, and that was weird because the way it's laid out, it's like, do you know, like when they build a new forest and the trees are straight in any angle, whether it's horizontal, vertical, or diagonal, the headstones are exactly the same. Whereas most other cemeteries and graveyards are just scattered about. This was like, it was symmetrical on whatever angle you looked. I'll find the video, I'll send it to you. It's about 2 minutes long. But it's, yeah.
I know what you're talking about. It was a unique setup, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because you drive in, and then it's like grid format, but it's just the way that on all the headstones are pretty much identical. There are a few that are different, but I'd say about 80% are the same. So I'm just checking messages. Right. Does somebody have a fan on?
That's me. That is my air conditioning in the background.
Right. Just let me check something. Yeah. It's okay. I can't. I can hear it, but it's not. Oh, as I say, it's not off-putting. Okay, but bye.
You offended Tilly and she left.
Yes, it should be back in a minute.
I know.
Just want to say
issues.
hello to everyone who's come in the chat. So Lara, Todd, and Camilla, Joe, Fire Spirit, Jane, Gerald, Adam, Simon, Darren, Ada, Billy, and anyone, Steve, Sober, Fred. I think I've said Fred. Danny, hi Danny. Hello to everyone. Right, so we are going to be talking about the Beast of Bray Road, believe it or not, because we never go off on tangents, do we?
No, never. I mean, we haven't been going off on a tangent for 20 minutes about Disney movies.
Right.
Yeah. But it wasn't. It was still paranormal Disney. It wasn't Disney. It wasn't like Frozen or anything like that, was it?
How many times have you seen Frozen, Andy?
Never.
Never?
I actually did try sit down watching it, and I got about 25 minutes into it. I can't watch it. No.
Elsa does have ice power, so you could argue that that is a paranormal movie.
Supernatural. But no, can't watch it. Can and won't. I blatantly refuse. Right. So, so Eric is stuck in traffic. Not heard anything back from Michelle. Not spoke to Tommy this week. Sarah's busy getting stuff done, getting ready for tomorrow and getting ready for next week. Surprise guest may or may not be on. If they are not on by the end of the show, I'll let you know who it was going to be. But they will be coming back on after they've been to their holiday destination. So
nice. I'm so sorry I accidentally had clicked out. Do you need me to move to a different room where the AC can't be heard?
No, I'm fine with it because it's not all the time. It's just now and again.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nicole's fine with it, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's just the moody, miserable ones in the chat that the hearing aid's not quite tuned in right. So that's what it is. True story.
Now,
I'm
let
gonna
us
wait
not
for all
be
the-
ableist.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for all the abuse to pop up in the chat now and see what happens. You know, I'm only messing. Right, so we're going to be talking about Beast of Bray Road. Should we start or should we wait for Eric? Because I know Eric's. I know
I
Eric's
don't
been.
know if
Eric
he's stuck in
watched it.
traffic. We don't know how. Joe said,
There we go. Just going to pop him up on screen.
"Yeah, just do it."
Why not? Oh, right. Quickly, for those of you who have missed Tommy, and for those of you probably don't even know who Tommy is, that Monday Face podcast this coming Monday at 8:30 will be the interview that I did with Tommy, talking about him doing stand-up comedy and not going to birthday parties. So, yeah, so that's on this coming Monday at 8:30. Oh, as well, that was the other update, the monthly members guest. So I did originally say it was going to be for members only for the first 7 days, but I did speak to my people. I'm going to say it anyway. I spoke to my people, and my people spoke back to me, and this is what they said.
Are these people in your head, Andy?
No, these are real people. People that live in the house. Becky's son, basically, right? And he said not to do it for a week, to do it for a month. The reason being, if you're doing it for a week, the monthly members may feel like they might be being ripped off a little bit, which they're not. But the ones who are not paying, it's like, well, I've only got to wait a week to watch it, so it doesn't matter. So if I run it for a month, so when the next one's due to come out for the members, I then release that for the non-members so that they can watch it. So then you're getting they're paying for that full month, so we'll give them the full month. So I agreed with my people on this. The end. Hi, Daryl. Hi, Daryl. You all right? Yeah. I've had a coffee like about half an hour ago, and I've just got in one of them moods. I don't know what's going on.
We're supposed to have like 9 people on here tonight, and we have 3. It's fine.
So, the what?
We were supposed to have like a bajillion people on tonight.
There should have been at least 8 people on today.
Yeah.
I'm going round to Sober's house to watch it. Yeah. Right. Oh, what do we do? Do we wait? Eric shouldn't be too long.
Okay. We can stall. We can.
We can.
We can't. Well, I tell you. Oh, I have got a story. I do actually have a story of something that happened to my cousin. Yeah, and he had a bit of a panic attack in his car.
Oh, wow.
So I'll tell you the backstory to it first, and then I'll tell you what happened to him. Bear with me, and please stay and don't go off doing other stuff. So there's a fishing lake, reservoir, pond, in the same town where I'm from. So it's private. You've got to get a permit to go. You go through one gate. You drive up, you open one gate, you go through, you lock it, you get to the next gate, same thing, you drive on, blah, blah, blah. So where that was, or where that is, there's a house at the side of it that my brother's wife's mum and dad used to live in. Now, I stayed there at a party one night, and rather than going on, brother said, "Oh, just stay here, I'll drop you off in the morning," even though it's like a 20-minute walk. He goes, "I'll drop you off in the morning." So we're both asleep in the living room. I woke up about 3:30 to hear like 3, 4, 5 kids running around outside laughing as though they're playing in the playground like a kindergarten. This is on a main road, and the side of the house is on a dirt track that leads down to the cemetery. But where that cemetery is, you've got I think it's something Wildley Hall, Wildley House, or something. If you look it up, there's a thing in there called the Screaming Skull. There's a skull on the shelf. If you take it off the shelf, it screams and screams until you put it back. It's like the Manchester equivalent to like the Dalai Lama lives there. So the Mank Monk, I now nicknamed him. So he's there. So and it's all they've got all. There's always been weird stuff going around in that area all the time, right? So there's another lad, Colin. He won't mind me saying his name. He used to go fishing on this lake, yeah. And I can't remember the full story, but I'm sure he's either supposed to meet up with someone and do night fishing, or they'd gone later. But either his mate had to go home early, or his mate didn't turn up. So he was there, like fishing and that, and he said, "Oh, this blue mist came over out of nowhere." He grabbed as much of his tackle that he could and threw it in the sky. He said he probably left half of it there, but there's no way he was going back. And he loves fishing, and he goes, "I will never ever go back there at night, whether it's on my own or with somebody else." Now, Deborah Hatswell from BBR, her dad used to be the bailiff, the ticket collector. You know, when they go around when you pay for your fishing permit, he used to do that. And there's all loads of weird stuff going on around the area. So a few years ago, cousin Andy was with two of his mates, Mike and Spen, who I know as well. They're walking through, and all this weird stuff started happening. He looked up and he seen like a fully robed monk, but he had no feet. So he's like he's about, I don't know how far off the ground, but it's a few inches off the ground, just floating across. They all crapped it and ran off. So this is what happened last week. So my cousin had gone fishing. Now, cousin, he has to use sticks to get about. His back's not very good. He's had hip replacement. And basically, he's falling apart. So he'd gone fishing. So it takes him a little bit longer than everyone else to like pack up and what have you. So there's two guys on there with him. One packed up and went. Then as the other one started packing up, Andy started packing up. But because he's slower, it takes him longer. The other guy had gone before he'd finished. Anyway, he heard his car go out. As he's starting to pack up, you can hear the gate creaking and what have you, because it's a big metal gate. So you hear that. He goes, it sounded like a crackling. What he said, the words that he said to me, like a tree had been cracked right down the middle and then hit the ground. This massive thud. It's not a big area. And he's like looking around and he could hear something, but couldn't see anything, like in the bushes and the tall grass and that. And he said it felt like he was being stalked, like something was sat or stood there watching him and following him. He started getting a bit about it. And then, so he's trying to back it away, but the faster he's doing, you know, when you're trying to do something quick and you start fumbling and all that, he was doing that. So he got to his car. He couldn't trying to get his keys to unlock his car to get everything in because he couldn't do it all in one go. But then he's like, he's got to get through, open one. He's got to get to the gate, drive to the gate, get out, open the gate, drive through, get back out, close the gate, and then the same again with the second gate. He said he did all that. As he got out to the second gate, he goes, I was having a panic attack. He goes, I just felt so relieved just to be sat in the car. It was like it was his only protection that he got, even though he thought if there's something there that it's just going to get him anyway. But he sat there and he goes, I was having a meltdown. I was like, proper, you know, his ass went, he's like, and yeah.
Is this the same place where he saw the footprint?
No, that's a different part. That's probably about 10 miles away. But so I'm doing that paranormal road trip in 2 weeks. So I'm going up to Manchester on the 15th. So we are now going there on the Monday night. So we're going to go and check that out. So I used to cut across there. So because when I used to go, when my brother was seeing his missus before they got married, they used to stay there a lot. So I would go around, have a few drinks, and I'd walk home. and it's easier to cut through that. There's an industrial estate at the side, but it's easier to cut through that to get on the main road than just cut through the estate. And I was back at my mum's. Otherwise, you got to go all the way around. It adds like 10, 20 minutes onto it. And when you just want to get home, you don't care. It's one of them. But I didn't know anything about that at the time. But that's the story in the shortened version. But he felt like there was something there. There's a hut there, like this wooden hut or this brick hut. He goes, and he's like, it felt like there's something there as well, just watching and something going on. So I'm going to go and check it out. So if you don't hear from me after Monday, then I've been I've been had. Here
after
he is.
Monday. What? You're gonna get hurt? You're going on a mission?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
he's gonna go find the Beast of Bray Road.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Are you going there? No, you're in the UK.
I'm gonna go and find the Mad Monk of Manchester. The Mad Monk.
Mad Monk.
Like
that is the tongue twister.
Yeah.
That's
why I couldn't say it. It's 3 attempts. I still got it wrong. Hello, Eric.
Man,
Eric,
sorry for being
Eric
late.
Is now only 12 years old, by the way.
I know. You look. It's all gone.
I did try to come in once in the car, but the single,
we seen you.
The single was just, it wasn't going to work.
No, but at least you let us know when you popped on and you showed us that you wasn't just hiding in the kitchen or something.
I was ready for exactly at 12:30, right? Because I did a show earlier about my DNA results, and my daughter had to get dropped off. And God damn it, I-5 on Friday sometimes is horrible.
No, not good.
Did you guys talk about that documentary yet?
No. Been stalling, waiting for you.
I was saying we should wait for you, and Nico was like, "No, just do it. Forget Eric, just go."
But just start. You could have got the basics down.
When you told me about it, I thought I was going to be watching a movie. I thought,
it's a documentary.
A movie
I didn't
review.
explain.
So you sent me the link, and I put it on. I'm like, oh, this is a documentary.
Yeah,
and it's Seth Breedlove of Small Town Monsters. He's one of the best documentary makers there are.
Was that made just for YouTube, or was that like made trying to be?
I'm not sure, because when I was searching it just come up full movie, so I thought, right, that one will do. And it's like an hour 35.
Yeah, no, it was an hour 6 minutes exactly.
Oh,
an hour 6 minutes, and so I was like watching it. I'm like, oh, it's a documentary, and like, is this for YouTube? I go, they put some money in it. I mean.
Yeah, it was crowdfunded, and it was released on DVD and streaming services in 2018.
Go on Instagram. He posts loads of stuff on Instagram, and the stuff he puts on there, it's just awesome.
Yeah, he's got Mothman videos. He's got a lot of videos on there. Wow.
That was the first time that I had ever heard of Small Town Monsters, and now that I've seen the work, I'm going to try to reach out to them to see if we can work together a little bit, because I was honestly very impressed. And I'm new to the public paranormal sphere, so I really don't know a lot of people yet. I don't know a lot of the paranormal groups. Basically, I just tend to be a very private person hiding under a rock. So please pardon me for any ignorance.
It's fine. You know what? We're all learning.
Animation, and then there's the book, and I'm like, is this like a Harry Potter thing? I know. And then they go into the story. I was thinking, like, man, it's kind of Harry Potter vibe with the book.
Yeah.
Wasn't it impressive?
Horror movie first. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is going to be like, this is not the right one again. But Andy sent it, so it had to be the right one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't send the wrong one every time. But thank you, Drew. Really appreciate it. But Small Town Monster, I think there's 3 of them in total, and they are just go on Instagram. Just go on Instagram, type in Small Town Monsters, and that's all. And just follow them. I
really want to watch these Mothman ones.
They are amazing. They really are.
Yeah.
I want to be able to make documentaries like that.
I want to be able to get rid of freaking YouTube or TikTok video.
He basically, that's what he does. He goes to the small towns where this stuff been going on, and he'll go and he'll research and he'll talk to locals. He'll talk to people that have gone there, that have gone visiting for whatever reason. It's just, he does the research that he puts into it is just awesome. It really, really is.
Nobody goes to Milwaukee.
I did think that. Without being horrible, but it is though. It's just go on Instagram. All his stuff is on Instagram. So,
while you're there, follow Andy.
Sorry?
So while you're there on Instagram, follow Andy.
Oh yeah, follow me as well. Not that I post anything on there.
I know. I don't post anything on Instagram anymore either. It's like
I'm not on Instagram.
It goes on Instagram via Facebook only because I don't know how to turn it off.
Well, Facebook owns Instagram.
Oh, it's all Meta, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all Meta.
The
Meta.
metaverse.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Eric, what's new with you?
Not super much, but today I did a show because I got some DNA results, because a lot of people know on my channel that I did that VA experiment blood thing, and today I finally got some results back. And hey, I learned that I got wet earwax from the DNA. The DNA says I should not like.
You have wet
I showed
earwax.
everybody the actual page from this place. What is it called? Chirapatra, some kind of food that I guess is going to taste like soap to me.
Cilantro.
Like, wow.
Cilantro, yeah.
But I did learn that all my ancestors are all from Europe, which I knew. Britain's my country. You guys know that I should be the royal family. Talked that before, so the DNA proves that.
And I'll be the president.
That's where all my people are from.
Roll up to Buckingham Palace with your papers in hand.
That's right. Bring that suitcase.
But like when I was looking at the results, they don't tell you all the results yet. They're still coming in. But it was just kind of cool. Like, oh, I could taste bitter stuff. Like, okay, I guess that's good to know.
There's people who can't taste bitter stuff.
I mean,
that's a thing.
This site. It breaks everything down genetically. I mean, it's like I think I guess when something's bitter, I can really taste it. And there's a part on there like I can really smell by the nose, like taste it with the nose. Like, okay.
Question for you then. Do you think that they're enhanced because of the trouble you had with your hearing when you was a child?
Andy, you know what? That's awesome you said that, because like Dr. Wu, my brother, was on there, and I'm like, Bob, is my smelly? I go, I thought that could be from the hearing issues where other senses
kick in more.
Kicks in more. And my brother's like, maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe that's where the DNA genetics is. Because there's another part, like the earwax part, like it says there's wetness in the ear, and that's part of the issue that I had with my ears, because wetness. I used to always drain water and sometimes the blood.
Yeah,
and the DNA says that part of genetically that your ears is more wetter than other people, which that's weird. Like, really, people have dry ears versus wet ears? I didn't know that.
Well, a lot of people too don't realize yet that genetics are not black and white. People are starting to find out now that genetics can be turned on and off depending upon certain factors.
That's true.
Well, see, this was cool about this program. They're doing 1 million people all around the world to try to do a draft, like the similarities depending on what countries you're from. Like, is there connections? So it's kind of cool to be part of that. Now I'm still waiting for the medical part to come back, where they'll tell you like cancer, if you're more in line for it. But before I even click on it, they make you sign a consent that, are you ready to hear some of this stuff? Because I guess some people don't want to hear, or not, they don't want to hear, they're surprised, like, what? I'm from Africa? What?
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah, and that can like
mine
mess
said
with you
100%
mentally.
from Europe. So
Mhm.
no doubt in my mind on that.
Excellent.
Like the Alzheimer's
least-
gene, the cancer gene, like
Yeah.
that stuff can like mess with you if you have it and you think that you're gonna get it. You'll live your whole life like waiting for it.
Yeah, and then I think that that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whereas I think that if people were to focus more on living as high quality, healthy, and high vibe life as they can, that turns off those genes in a lot of cases. But
Yeah.
say if you get into an abusive relationship or you're eating nothing but garbage, you're living in a smoggy area with a lot of traffic and whatnot, those things can activate the genetic conditions that are lying in wait. At least this is my theory. This is my understanding. So I don't know. It just seems like there are a lot of different types of medicines available for those who have eyes to see
But that's true though, because
and ears to hear.
what you just said then, Tilly, going into the paranormal side of that, if you're living on a higher frequency as a happier person, enjoying stuff rather than being down and all that, down and gloomy at a lower frequency, when you're on that lower frequency, that's when you're attracting all these negative energies like the shadow people and other weird goings on, like growling outside bedroom windows and all that. But when you're on that higher frequency, you notice that the people around you are happier, people that onto you more, they smile at you. It's just everything just seems a lot better, and you feel better in yourself as well. So it must be, that's got to be a frequency thing. It really, really has.
Yeah. But you know what's cool is I learned that I'm not lactose intolerant because of DNA.
Oh,
Interesting.
so why are you lactose intolerant?
Are lactose intolerant?
Really, I was surprised. Like when I was looking at it, like cilantro preference, what earwax type, lactose. I mean, this is what I get for DNA. Like, wow.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm not lactose tolerant. It says I'm unlikely to get that.
I just thought DNA was like part of you's from Norway, part of you's from Scotland, and the rest of you don't know.
It's so much more.
I didn't know
there
it
is.
was everything.
Yeah. It is. I'm sure, and as soon as I get more stuff in, I'm sharing it with everybody. So it's kind of cool. It's if I had to pay for it myself, my brother and I researched it. It would cost an average person over $5,000 if they want to know, everything.
Wow.
Since I'm part of the program, I don't have to pay, of course.
But saying that though, because my Becky, she works in the same line of business as what Nicole does. We had a medical study from one of the local hospitals where they do the wellness checks. So wild man and wild woman, they do a blood test and they check you for everything, every illness known, every what's the word? Anything that you can be deficient in, and it lists like your bone density, bone structure, all the minerals in your bone, the blood, everything, the plasma, absolutely everything. And the list, it's like 3 pages long. Half of it, I'm like, I don't even know what this is. And it doesn't say, at the end, it doesn't say you are okay or you are going to die. It doesn't, nothing like that. You've kind of like got to work it out yourself. So that's another. That would have cost about. I think that would have cost a couple of £100. So,
you know what I find really interesting, like that 2 siblings can have completely different like DNA presentations. Like you could do one of those 23andMe things, and then your sibling can do it and get totally different results of like what percentage of things you are.
Well,
yeah.
You get a higher percentage from your father or mother, so it depends on where your percentage mostly from your DNA from.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, that's all done with Slava. This test was all done with. I had to give like 10 bottles of blood.
Wow.
I mean, they took a lot of blood, and what they do is they send this all around the United States to different doctors. They all do their own tests and they put it together, so it's not done just by one place. They want to know if different people
in case there's glitches in certain bits, and then they
so
can
when you finally get
it,
it's actually more real because it's done by multiple people.
Yeah.
So to kind of bring this topic back to paranormal, like there's a lot of DNA tests done on like hair samples and everything like that. Do you think that they're actually valid, or that they're hiding the results when they come back?
See, that's a good question. That's a great question, because we were talking about some of that kind of stuff. Like, first of all, are they making clones of you? And I told my brother on the air today, like, if they make 10 people of me, I don't care. They can make 100, make an army of me. I mean, it's not me. But will they tell you certain things they're looking for? That's a good question. Like, I'm not saying we're aliens or not, but is there a gene in there that's from alien base? And will they tell you that? In my opinion, no. Because again, you always hear stories that they do experiments with veterans and VA and stuff. Well, this test is through the VA.
Well, MK
I am
Ultra.
a veteran, so maybe
Well, look at MK Ultra.
Amen. And you know what, my friend, I was taught that I should never ever trust a human being to do what they say they're going to do. I should only ever trust a human being to do what they want to do. That in mind, do I think that they are telling the truth? Absolutely not. I think that there are lots of genetic markers that they look for, whether it's for illnesses, to build bioweapons, and or to identify maybe possible different types of hybrids, and or other types of people like Bigfoot, Dogman, etc., that are found out in the woods. And I don't think that they're going to release that information to the public at all. And in fact, I am completely against human beings having technology such as DNA testing and whatnot, because I see most of humanity as being inherently untrustworthy and wild. Then all of that to also say that I personally would never ever submit my genetics knowingly to anyone, because I don't want to have that possibly used against me, like with a bioweapon or something. And I do everything that I can to completely avoid all of that. But that's just me. Maybe I'm just paranoid. I don't really know. I think also that there are types of genetic expressions that are too subtle for humankind to pick up on. And I think that that is a blessing. So that's my take on it.
You know, we were reading an article, like, what if they did force everybody to do a DNA thing? Because they're talking about if everybody knew their DNA, right? Would a woman pick a certain man if his DNA wasn't that good? Like, is there a level? I mean, if I was horrible DNA, I'd probably get less women, right? Because like, oh, I don't want his DNA. I want that person's DNA. You know what I mean? I'm serious. Like,
yeah, hypergamy. It would absolutely jet fuel human hypergamy. Mm-hmm. And I think that that is a really good thing. And also a really bad thing. I think it depends upon the individual, if that makes sense.
On what your DNA is, right?
Are you allowed to just make your own? Get a sheet and fill it in yourself.
Huh?
Can
you just get one of the official sheets and just fill it in yourself, so you got the best of everything?
Yeah,
But some people carry like they have the recessive gene for like certain diseases, and it'll only express in their children if they are with someone who also has that recessive trait. So some people do get genetic testing before they decide to have kids.
Because there are people. So I was just going to say, there are people that cannot catch certain diseases or illnesses. They are carriers of it. They have it, but they can never catch it, and they can pass it on.
Right. And see, now we're getting into the topic of human eugenics. And a lot of people believe that eugenics is bad. I don't agree with that at all. I think that eugenics is incredibly healthy if it is done at least to the standards that I hold. I can't speak for anyone else, though. And please, everyone, keep in mind, I might be absolutely bonkers. So please rub your own two brain cells together and decide for yourself. But I think that it is a very good thing to be careful who you choose as your friends and your family and your inner circle, especially your mate and anyone that you have any sexual encounter with, because you don't know what kind of diseases or genetics that person might be carrying. Then as well, it is now coming to light that things like personality disorders can be genetically inherited. some family lines, some human family lines, are actually genetically cursed. Would someone want to be a part of that? I sure as hell don't. And I don't recommend it for anyone else. And I think this is a key point in building heaven on earth. And a lot of people here would judge what I have to say as being too harsh or whatever. They are thinking with their emotions instead of thinking very coldly and logically as I would. Am I judging them negatively for that? No, I just want to be left alone to operate as I see healthiest and to be surrounded by people who can understand where I'm coming from, because the way that I understand, my philosophy would save a lot of people from a lot of pain. But not everyone learns from talking about philosophy. There are some people who have to learn hands-on and really get hurt before it can, kind of gel in the mind. That's okay too. What do you guys think about all of that?
Wow.
Silence. I'm so sorry.
Good to be aware of, who you are interacting with and keeping close to you. Definitely the mental health thing, but now there's a lot of help for people with mental health. So it's not like it was back in the day, but if we had this kind of technology back then, it would have saved a lot of people, a lot of issues, a lot of people in mental institutions.
Yeah.
I agree.
Eric?
Now, I remember my cousin got married in California and in this church. To get married there, they had to do a blood test. And he and his wife blood didn't match. Me and my wife's blood don't match. So for him to get married, you have to take counseling. So they decided, you had to get counseling before you're allowed to get married, because I guess the RH factor. So they had to go to Nevada to get married in Vegas.
Yeah.
And when my wife and I got married in Washington, her blood actually did not match with mine. She had to get an RH shot. And in some states, you actually have to do counseling because the blood don't match. So isn't that weird? So it's
I've heard of the test to make sure you're not related, but I've never heard of it for like the RH factor.
Yeah, because
it's very much a thing. Yeah,
that's right. It could affects the kid. So like if you have a kid, you have to get that shot. I remember my wife had to get like this big ass, it's a big ass freaking shot, or because it'll affect the second kid, not necessarily the first one. I don't know how that genetic stuff works on that, but
because some of the DNA from your first kid stays with you.
Yeah, but it's just weird that sometimes
you have DNA from your baby in you after, and then
your
body will attack the second baby.
In a lot of ways, I guess technically we weren't compatible by blood in the first place. It's just weird. That's weird. Still part of our life, It's and because I got married in Washington, they don't do that testing, but in California they did. You had no choice, or you couldn't get married in their church.
Wow.
Weird.
I think you should have counseling before you get married now, anyway, regardless.
I think everybody should just have counseling in general,
because
Amen,
you have
Nicole.
counseling to get divorced, don't you?
I'm not afraid to tell people that I'm going through counseling and all that. I had to do a big thing 2 days ago where they ask you for an hour and a half. They're asking you all these questions, and then I learned the good thing is I failed 3 out of the 4 tests, but the 4th test that I passed is learning that I'm not. What do you call that? Split personality one.
Dissociative identity disorder. Dissociative
I don't have bipolar. I don't have bipolar. I passed that one, but everything else I failed. dude, they told my wife, because they asked permission, they could tell my wife everything. Like, go for it, because your husband has the classic adult ADHD. Like my wife's like, I already knew that. You don't have to.
We all have ADHD. Like if you go through the checklist,
I have it apparently.
Everyone has ADHD, and everybody's like somewhere on that autism spectrum.
I know, but Nicole, it's just funny because they said I had the classic one. Like, what's classic? I mean, I'm classic. I mean, wow. Okay, at least they use nice words.
Yeah. Now you have to research what they meant by classic.
I know, right?
I like this.
Classic.
Yeah. Regardless of our genetic predisposition, live life to the fullest and enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm with you, Todd.
Yeah.
100%.
Because we're all messed up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right.
It's weird because the normal people are the not normal people. Like they're like, okay, what are your mental illnesses? And if you don't have any,
I had the conversation before, but what's even considered normal? I mean, only person I ever know how to think is myself. I don't, you know, like how we judge. What if I'm normal and you're not? Or the doctors who's taking these tests are not normal?
And that's something I was going to say. I think you're so smart, Eric. I agree with you. There is no objective thing as normal. Every person is an individual. So we can say that certain things are more common or less common than others, but there is no normal. And whenever someone is trying to say that such and such is normal, I find that it tends to be a control tactic. And so I will disregard personally anyone who tries to push a philosophy of something being normal on me if it's not a biological function. So that's my take on it. And I look for people who can speak on a grade of something being healthy or unhealthy or healthier or less healthy. And also then common, less common, rare, that type of thing. And that's how I prefer to go about it. Because if someone can arbitrate what normal is when it comes to personality, when it comes to preferences, etc., that means that they have control. And I don't like that because it's just a matter of opinion.
Yep, totally agree on that.
Yes.
Normal doesn't exist.
Hey, remember when we worked and we go off on tangents?
No, what are you talking about? That's not normal, what you're saying.
Nope, definitely not. Nothing about me is normal.
I love it.
Shall we go for a break and then we need to talk about the Beast of Bray Road?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I mean, this thing's taking a break right now.
Oh.
See, that's how I should be asleep.
I know, you can probably hear her. She snores loud.
Right, so we'll do 2.5 minute break and then go straight into Beast of Bray Road. When we've done that, we can carry on with this if we need to. So, see you in a little over 2.5 minutes.
Cool.
Get your questions ready. I know you guys have been watching it too, because we're going to question you. There you go. See you in a sec. Cool. And we are back.
For real
As
this time.
scheduled. I know what happened. I pressed something on the keyboard, but because the mouse was hovering over where it says where the break is, it stops it. And we're all there like mid-drink.
Yeah, right?
So, right. Beast of Bray Road. Who did watch it?
I watched it.
I watched it.
Oh, just
It's
checking.
free.
Just
We all
checking.
did our homework.
Yeah.
Checking. So, what do you guys think of it?
It was
You know, what's cool about it is when we first start watching it, you know, they start talking about the lichen, the werewolf part. And so I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a werewolf story. But what was cool about it is they brought in the word dogman into it. And they also brought in some satanic kind of stuff during it. So in a lot of ways, that was cool because now you're thinking, I always think the werewolf and dogman are one the same. Because nobody exactly knows exactly how they're supposed to look like. So it's cool that they brought in the dogman and the werewolf. You know, but is it satanic? Is it more the demons that you're seeing in it? You know,
Well,
that's something too.
I thought when they were saying that, and then they were saying about the footprints that you could make them footprints with stilts from any whatever store you get them from.
When he's getting tested, they're saying it was fake. It could not fake.
Yeah. And he's like, you can't.
Or
get
somebody
them,
said it was it could be an overgrown coyote or something. I can't.
Yeah, but it's just like this thing, two footprints, and it's like, but just before when you're saying about the satanic and all that, first thing I thought was Wendigo. That was the
I was thinking Wendigo too because they brought up skinwalkers, and I was ready to hear. They brought up something else. Skinwalkers. There wasn't.
You didn't say Wendigo because I was sat waiting.
But there was another one they mentioned. I can't remember. It's almost similar to skin. It was the other Native American. It was one was skinwalkers, and the other one was I can't remember what they said. There wasn't Wendigo.
Shapeshifter.
No, God, I'll have to rewatch it.
No, someone.
What did they say?
Everyone in the chat should have been watching
monster?
it. They should know. But do you know what I found fascinating? Right at the beginning, where they was talking about all the other cryptids that went on, but then two girls that nearly killed the friend from school in the woods with the Slender Man, saying that Slender Man was making them do it. I didn't know all that was on at the beginning of this. I must have skipped that bit when I watched it the first time.
You're right. I'm like Slender Man. Oh, Slender Man's in this too. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and there's a couple of others. I'm like, oh, I thought this was like Bray Road. But then the two guys came in, the Lee Bray and was it Lean Scott? Can't remember his brother's name. And then because that road was named after their family, because their family moved there whatever decade it was, and then gradually more and more of their family moved into that town, or not just that town, but that part of Milwaukee.
Yeah, Elkhorn. I'm trying to remember
Elkhorn.
Yeah.
I thought personally that it was a brilliant documentary, and I really adored it. I actually work with the International Dogman Project and the Quad Coalition of Sciences. And right now I'm in the middle of writing a 3-part series all about cynocephaly and dog people and werewolves and things like that. And it does tie into the Wendigo and the Skinwalker as well. So it was interesting to me to watch that documentary and hear what other professionals, you could say, had to explain about their experiences and their understanding. I think that it was brilliantly planned and executed, and I think that they were really onto a lot of key features of this type of being and or people, because of course I can't say for sure whether or not any of those beings or people are sentient. So even for me, it's tricky to categorize that type of being or person because I've never met one. I don't know. But I do think that they're real. I think that the documentary did a phenomenal, pun intended, job. It was great to see Linda Godfrey in there. And I thank you very much actually for sending that to me, because I'm going to use it as a resource for the article that I'm working on right now, the part 2 article. And I don't know. I think personally that there are a few different camps of dog people, werewolves, etc. I think that there are some quantum ones, sentience completely aside, and then I do think that there are some purely physical ones. But then there may also be ones that can go in between what we would call here the physical, and then they can hop behind the veil into a different vibration, or maybe even different realms. What do you guys think?
Yeah. See, I was thinking portal too. I was thinking there's had to be some kind of portal where these things are coming in and out, because there's multiple stories of people are seeing these things. If they are, where these things go, where are they hiding? And the first thing I was thinking of a portal, because there's supposed to be a portal by our house for the Devil's Hand area. So my thought was, they got to be jumping out from somewhere.
But what got me as well,
place where they jump in and out, a physical portal, or is it like Tilly said, they just can raise and lower their vibrations to travel to different planes?
Well, it's not even that. It's to be, if they change their vibrations so that we can see them, or the animals can see them, or nothing can see them, or these other things that we can't see can see them.
Yeah.
It'd be a mix of everything. But what got me was at the beginning, because I've heard this a lot, and no one's really got any actual proof of how or why or how it happened, was when the elk's hind legs was found in the top of the tree hanging down, and there's no reason for it to happen. They were just there. It's like a bear wouldn't have done it. A bear would have just tore it apart, took what it wanted and left it. Did you say there's no big cats in the area? There's no lynx or mountain cats or anything around there. So it wouldn't be a cat that'd do that, because that's what a typical cat would do, is drag it up to the tree out the way and go back to it later. But it was just like, was it there for like 3 weeks or something before someone moved it? It was there quite a while.
Yeah.
And no one actually knows why it was there and anything like that. It's just, that's a bit boggling.
And if they do know, maybe they're not ever going to come out and be honest for whatever reason. So it's just such an enigma. Yeah. Don't you just love a good mystery?
Yeah.
Well, when they were saying about the badger, and he said that badger was found dead, and then he went back and all the intestines and everything had been ripped out, and but the badger was left. They just pulled all the insides of it out and left it there. See, what would do that? Why? That's precision. That's something knowing the reason why it's doing it. That's not instincts.
I'm actually looking up Milwaukee wildlife. They mostly have bats, squirrel, coyote, snakes, bears, wolf, elk, white-tailed deer, raccoon, and skunk. So that's mainly what they have in their wildlife up there.
Are you talking bears and wolves?
Yeah, bears and wolves.
The main predators.
Which wolves can maybe be mistaken for a dog man, but not in the descriptions that
no, exactly.
No. I would wonder, what if, I can't remember what they said in the documentary, so please forgive me for that, but what if whoever or whatever is doing this, they're searching for a certain part of the body or a certain organ, and that's why they leave the rest behind.
Or a particular part of DNA that's only found in certain organs.
Way to bring it back to DNA, Andy.
It's related.
But it could be.
Full circle.
What is that? Because it's like your liver filters. Is it your liver that filters the blood? Your kidney filters all the waste. So there's going to be residue left in there. Maybe these things in them particular organs, that whatever it is it's doing, it needs that to survive, or might not even need it to survive. To survive, they might need it if they're trying to create something else. That might be like a missing piece.
Yeah, and I've heard about that a lot. Bovine blood is apparently incredibly vital and important to lots of different types of non-human people. And apparently this is why a lot of the cattle mutilations result in the animal missing all of the blood and then certain key organs. At least that's what I'm told from multiple sources, that they need what is in the blood for apparently several different things, and there's something very special and sacred about cows that is not found in any other animal. Though, of course, I don't know precisely what that is. I just know that that's what I'm told.
That's really interesting that the non-human people find cows very like sacred or necessary, because there's also certain religions that
you get it.
People religions that treat cows sacred.
Yes. And so in India, apparently it is a sacred duty to look after cows specifically. And I would like to maybe encourage people to look into that. Why might that be? Instead of just accepting it, oh, it's part of the religion. Why is it part of the religion? Who did it come from? Why is it now also still relevant? I don't know.
Well,
I think it's good to question things.
Yeah, but they treat that if there's a cow, they treat it better than the rest of their family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's a religious thing.
Yeah. It's like it's treated like a god.
Yeah.
So I can find out because I know people of that religion, so I just ask them.
But more
Whether
so,
they tell me the truth or not, I don't know. It depends
God
what
says
it
it.
is like.
Why does God say it? Like, where was the origins of this? Because a lot of modern day religions have their origins in like pagan beliefs and things like that.
I really like the way that you think, Nicole. And I think that you're a really smart cookie, darling.
Oh,
So there is, have you all heard of Barry Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Never
Yes.
heard of them.
Okay.
Never.
Do you know who Steve Barra is?
I know. Yeah, I know who they are. They were on the member show on Wednesday.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So Barry has written a book called The Deception of Gods and Men. I personally would recommend, I don't agree with everything he says. I agree with like 95% of what he says. I think that that needs to be required reading for every single human being on the planet in order to begin to be educated and to stay safe and to look into the origins of religions as well as the nature of most of these so-called gods.
Yeah.
And I think that he does kind of get into more of what we're talking about within that book. God, he covers so much in there. But anyways, book recommendation, safety.
Yeah, well, I was saying this on Wednesday because I've got it on Audible, and I was saying to him, because he was saying that he couldn't use his voice. He's told me why they can't use his voice, but I'm not going to say it on air. But anyway, so they've got somebody else doing his voice on it, and I started listening to it at work and driving around, and it got to I was done my work and I'd pulled up. I actually for 10 minutes forgot I was at work and I was just parked up listening to it. And it's like, and then I thought I need to start going off, and then I was getting distracted from listening to the book to actually driving. I had to stop it.
I hope your boss doesn't watch the show.
Probably.
Right.
Yeah, but you know what I'm like, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah. But it is one of the best books I've not listened to at all, but just the first 2 chapters is, oh my God. And like I said, we was talking to him on Wednesday about it because I met him in Manchester last year and I bought his other book about the Banshee. I can't remember the exact name without looking behind me. And got that signed, and I need to actually open it and start reading it. But I will be doing that next week, I promise. But this is why I get them on Audible, because you can sit there and listen to them like when I go to bed, when I'm driving and not having to concentrate on other stuff. But it's just the details that he goes into and how the explanations of what is there and why it's there and the beliefs as to why it's there and what it means. And not just what it means from his point of view, but what it means for us as a race on a whole. It's just, he goes into everything and it's just outstanding.
It's called Banshee, Modern Encounters with the Banshee.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. But
And I think that Barry is a very credible person in general and a brilliant author. And I would contend that really I only disagree with Barry a little bit because I do think that human beings are not alone, even in the physical society. And so I always encourage people to try to work with people as individuals and not focus on genetics or differences unless they are psychological and one party is much gentler than the other. Then that's where, of course, the gentle party is at significant risk. Other than that, though, I don't think it's wise to put a ton of emphasis on genetic or even vibrational differences.
yeah, no, totally get that.
Yeah,
he's gonna
so
be back
that's
in
really my only point of contention. But I look forward to a time perhaps when humanity is more ready to accept other types of extended family members in a safe, healthy, and harmonious way. I hope that can be a possibility one day.
Yeah.
I think we're getting
we're
there
getting
because
closer.
with the whole disclosure thing that's happening like in America right now.
Yeah.
They thought it was gonna be some crazy like revelation, and we're all like, yeah, okay, we know.
Yeah.
But like, how about student loans and the inflation? Like we don't care. We know that the aliens are here.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I've got two comments quickly. One, what Sully was saying, it's like it's good to not agree with everything that everyone says because we're all going to believe the same thing. It's good to disagree, not to, as you say, don't argue with the person, argue the point. Just because someone believes in one thing and the other person believes in something else, that doesn't matter. Everyone's entitled to their own belief. So just quickly, Eric's going to be back in a minute. Someone's at his door, probably Amazon. Don't know, or the DNA people. And the other one is what Nicole said, that everyone's being more accepting. I think that is due now to, and I'm not going to go into it as a subject as such, but now there's all these different what are they called? Oh my god, it's gone. You got male and female. What?
Genders?
Sex.
Right. So you got all these different genders. So there's a list, probably about 8, 9, 10, however many. And
depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
People are becoming more accepting of all these different types of what people are or what they want to be. So it's kind of like going with the flow now. So when these, like you said, extended family members that are from other places start coming in and intermingling and showing us and telling us where they are from, it's going to be, yeah, that's cool. Or the majority is going to be like that. You are going to get some that are going to be arseholes about it, but they're probably arseholes in everyday life anyway, so that doesn't make any difference.
Right. Yeah.
And those people aren't people you want to associate with anyway.
For real, yeah. It just, I think, would come down more to safety because from my understanding that's why a lot of non-human people do not come out and talk about it, especially if they look different in any way. The psychology is different. The energetic signature is different. They don't want to put themselves at risk. And I totally understand that because human beings can be incredibly violent for apparently no objective reason. And in fact, I'm going to be speaking at a national UFO disclosure conference come November in New York. I had told you guys about that. Mm-hmm. And my topic of discussion, it's not going to be just disclosure or the paranormal. I'm going to be talking about different branches of peoples and how harmony can be achieved between all of them. And then looking into folklore and religion and past human societies so that all of those dots hopefully can be more connected for anyone who would like to hear what I have to say. And I'm so grateful to be here in a time where it does seem like people are a lot more accepting now, because I do think great things could be on the horizon for those who are ready.
I agree.
Yep. Yeah.
100%. And I definitely want to come see you in November.
Heck yeah, girl. I would love to see you.
I'm just going to get a really big telescope. because we're on flat Earth, I'll be able to see. I'll just stick the microphone on the end.
We'll wave. From the
We'll wave.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see us.
But I think you'd be able to tune in via Zoom if you wanted to. We're each going to have a presentation. I think it's going to be about an hour long per person. And then we're going to have a longer panel discussion the day after. And if I remember properly, they're all going to be broadcast on Zoom. So e-tickets, I do think, are going to be available.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
No flat Earth required.
Keep me updated, please.
Sure, absolutely. My pleasure.
Tunnels over, Andy.
Right. So, sorry?
So just take the tunnels over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I could I could be the hitchhiker on a Wendigo. Payback.
You could pay them in raw meat.
Yes. It's like the donkey with a carrot, isn't it? Like the carrot on the stick. I just do that. Oh, a human leg whilst getting the shoulder piggyback on a Wendigo.
Where are you getting a human leg? You're gonna have to go hang out in the cemetery first.
I deliver to hospitals. I can just duck past the incinerator and.
Well, they do amputations sometimes, so just grab one out of the bin.
I'm sure I'd be able to rummage through and find a leg in a bag somewhere. Never know.
We're banned today because we've talked about eugenics and gender.
I've had 2 coffees, and that's 2 more than I should be having.
Man, this is probably the most exciting show I've done in a while. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Good to hear.
Right. It is good. I'm enjoying this one. I enjoy them all, but some kind of like kick in a little bit better than the others.
Yeah, right. I agree. Totally agree.
Here we go. Got a question from Joe. She might have to specify a little bit more on the detail, but here it is. What do each of you think they actually are, or what do you think they could be? I'm guessing
about
Bray Road, the beast of. So I'm kind of with Joe on this, where I don't believe a human can turn into a wolf-like creature and then turn back into a human because of the not metaphor. Is it metaphorics?
Metaphysics.
Yeah. So the body. Yeah, that what she said. So a full body reconstruction, like muscle change, bone density, everything, the whole shebang, and then change back. It seems too complicated for something to be able to do that, unless it's kind of like a cross dimension where it's 2 things that merge together to become one, and then they split again, like in The Flash. You've got like the young lad and the old guy, and they merge together to become that one thing. I can't remember. I think it was season 1 or season 2. And then they couldn't control it at first, but then they can split up again, or they can go back together. So the 2 people become one unity. What if it's something like that? What if the wolf-like creature needs a human to be able to do that? And that's why that happens. And that's why the human supposedly doesn't remember what's going on, because people have been seen, filmed, and photographed of walking around near naked, like 30, 40 miles away from nowhere in just their underwear. Metamorphosis. That's it. Cheers, Warren.
Sounds like a good Friday night.
Yeah. Wow. Depends where you go drinking.
I had too many drinks and couldn't remember where they ended up.
Yeah, but it is so. It's why is that not possible?
Well, I agree with you, Andy, and I think that is very much a thing. And in fact, I have worked a handful of cases where it seems that there is a soul rotation going on. And so essentially, I believe that there are some human people who are less physically dense and fixed than the majority of human people. And so their genes at the base level seem to vibrate a little bit higher, and that makes them more malleable. And so under the right circumstances, in my understanding, they could then be sharing the body with a non-human person of any different type. And so this results in what I would call a rotation. And for anyone who is interested, you might want to go check out my channel, The Weird Walk Home. There is there's an episode that I did back when I was doing standalone episodes, and it talks about things like dissociative identity disorder, how it's related to the paranormal, as well as different uses of the imagination and tulpas and whatnot. So all of that aside, I agree with you there. I also...
Sorry, I was just thinking, with you saying that, the hitchhiker effect, if somebody's getting... I don't mean to interrupt, but I will forget. If someone's been possessed, like when they do an exorcism, yeah, they've got something inside them. What if this thing, that this dogman-like creature, is more powerful than what this, we'll say a demon, and they are able to have a physical formation rather than just a mental formation. So that's why you can see the dog-like creature. But then we'll go with the movie The Exorcist with the girl where she's possessed. She only starts changing when the priest comes in and tries. Oh yeah, when the priest comes in and tries to like do the depossession on her. So why can that be a thing? But then why can't the dogman thing be more of a visual than?
In some cases, I do fully believe that it is, because the DNA expression is changing. So if you are familiar with creatures such as the cuttlefish or the octopus,
yes,
we can see that type of phenotype change in those animals at will. And I fully believe that there are some non-human people who are very much able to do that. But then there are also other ones who are able to possess a human person, and the genetics are just right so that they can change the phenotypical expression of that human container. And from what I seem to have experienced, there have been a handful of seemingly peaceful rotational agreements between human people and non-human people who want to come in here temporarily to incarnate, join the party, and then go about their way for a while. There was one case that I worked where the family was super concerned that this lady had DID because in one part of her life, she was a rock star real estate agent, and people would come up to her out on the street, you know, and say, "Oh my God, hi Karen, I met you at such and such." And the woman would have no memory whatsoever. She also knew nothing about real estate, and she had a totally different part-time job. So her family was really concerned. And when I was assigned to that case and I was talking to her, I got to meet seemingly the other party after taking a full family and personal history of this woman. And the other party said, "Yeah, my name, you could call me this. This is what I'm called here. She and I share the body. She doesn't have any memory. However, it is a very, very healthy relationship. And as you can see, the only anomaly is that she just doesn't have any memory." But so the woman, or the person, the non-human person wanting to come in, she just wanted, I'm calling her, you know, she, but that wasn't the case. I'm just, you know, trying to be more relatable here. This person would come in, do their thing with the real estate, learning about how to make human bargains and whatnot like that. And then all of the money that she got, the other person inherited. So every time she made a closing, the carrier of the body, the original carrier of the body, would get the fat check in her name. And so that was a very, very positive case. And as far as I know, they're still happy, still working together, still in a great relationship.
I love how you mentioned DID, because there are so many cases of dissociative identity disorder where physical characteristics change with the personality. Like one personality is blind, one personality can see.
Like
They
Split.
have done tests.
Split, yes.
Yes, Split.
Yeah.
And they have done tests on this personality that's blind, and they cannot see. They have no kind of interaction in their eyeballs when
Right.
it's shining. But when
Oh,
the
yeah.
other personalities in there,
But-
they do.
Yeah.
Right. And this person had no trauma whatsoever. And it didn't start until she was like 35 years old. So very atypical. DID, I completely ruled out. For anyone who's not familiar, I do have professional mental health training and whatnot. So I do seem to know what to look for. But I do think that there are lots of ways to incarnate. And I think that, Andy, getting back to what you said, I think it's perfectly plausible. And I do think that that is very much a real thing. One version of Dogman, anyway, or werewolves.
Yeah, but then, like we said with Split, where you have all these different personalities and they've all got different ailments, yet one could be having an illness that is like life-threatening, yet the other one doesn't. So what if it isn't that, and what if it's just that person can change their frequency without knowing, but then it's like like they say, tuning a radio in. You tune it from 102, then you take it down to 98. What if they can only go to them presets?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you can't
genetic
you
activation.
can't do anything. So they've got 10 presets, say between 102 and 77. Yeah. But say one's 78.2, but they can't get to 78.3. It jumps from 78.2 to 78.9, and they can't do any in between. So what if each personality is a preset of that frequency, and it is just that one person, but it's different versions of that one person, how they would be in different realms or dimensions?
I
I
agree.
need more coffee.
I'm sorry.
That
We
was
got
a
the
big
fire.
Amazon parcel.
I've been attacked by a Wendigo.
But what if it is just presets of frequency and it's not that multi-personal disorder? It is. They are all of them people, but at different times.
I agree. And I talk about that a little bit on that episode that I mentioned, because that also seems to be something I have encountered in a few cases. And, DID, in some, this is tough. In some cases, I think that it is overly diagnosed. And in some cases, I think it's not diagnosed enough, just depending upon the situation.
Yeah.
So if we're, for example, Andy, if we're having a person or a small group of people who they've never had the traumas that would cause the DID, but they are having the so-called symptoms, I would be a lot more likely to label that as either some type of soul rotation or as a timeline rotation, and that is reflected also within the genetics and the phenotypes at core. That includes illnesses and taste bud changes and different dilation of the eyes and ear wetness, things like that. But if we're having someone that had a lot of trauma or one severely traumatic event, that then almost completely rules out, in my understanding, timeline rotation and other types of inhabitation, unless that person has DID and their vibration is so low from poor mental health and living a poor quality lifestyle that then they are susceptible energetically to another typically negative person coming in and inhabiting. Now, there do seem to be a few cases where a person who might have been traumatized, have DID, and been living a really poor quality life, but someone from the other side, maybe an ancestor, you could say a god, or another type of non-human person, swoops into the body to assist that person because that's their guardian angel. But that is incredibly rare. What do you think of that?
Right. Can I just answer this one quickly? Because I've just wrote something down. What if, as you were saying, and what I was saying previous to that, there are, I've written frequency gaps. So there are particular frequencies, yeah, that it's like a portal that either a good or a bad entity can jump into that person as they're at that frequency. And that's when we'll call it possession, regardless of good or bad, and that or hijack. That's when that possession takes effect. As they go to that frequency, even if it's for a split nanosecond or whatever, it's still there. And if time doesn't exist, that nanosecond is there all the time. And as long as they know where that gap is, they can get in there and out regardless and come and go as much as they want. And the person won't know because the time isn't moving.
Yeah, that's a
That
really
is correct.
That is my head hurts now.
You're right.
Yep.
You are absolutely correct. That's how I see it. That's how I experience it. And so I always encourage human people to be as present and mindful in every moment as they can, and to choose their behaviors very carefully. Choose your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your relationships very, very carefully, because certain types of non-human people have different types of access to time and to timelines.
Yes.
Human people typically tend to think that they have genuine alone time. I don't think that that is the case. And so I encourage everyone to act as though they are always being watched, because you never actually know. And then on top of this, if a non-human person of a negative type spots that little, chink in the armor, all it takes, like you said, is that microsecond to hop into the body. And then if the human person isn't paying enough attention, they might spiral down further into a vibration that continues the negative possession or invites further continuance of the negative possession.
Yeah.
And this is where free will development for humankind, I think, is absolutely essential. Thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk. Did that make sense at all?
Yeah. Because where that gap is, once that doorway is created, that then will stay open until either the person or the possessioner, we'll call them, decides either the person realizes and knows how to close it, or the thing taking possession doesn't need them anymore, and it's like, done with them, job done, next.
Like with the concept of time and space and these non-human people being able to work with that and alter that, is it also possible that they're not physically changing the person they're possessing, but they're just putting glamour out and making everyone see how they want to present themselves?
Yes, absolutely. So from what I understand, a lot of non-human people can project glamour outside of their own auric field. And so technically, apparently, when inhabiting a human person, they are inhabiting technically an exotic or foreign energetic field outside of their own, if they have one to begin with. And glamour, the way that glamour works, it is an external type of projection. And so they don't seem to have a lot of limits on what they can project, with the exception that cameras often tend to show what is actually physically there. Does that help?
Like reading my brain, because I was literally just thinking, I'm like glamours, even when people try to do it or whatever, it doesn't work on photographs or video.
Right.
It only works in people's minds.
I think my brain.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I need aspirins.
I'm so sorry, love.
No.
This is the sort of stuff. I love all this, because once you get into it, it opens up and it just creates more. So it's like once that frequency, that door's open, and it's like going back to the vampire. Once you're invited in, you don't even have to physically know that you've made that invitation. If you open that door, you're letting them in. It's like the door's open, come in. You don't have to say anything or do anything. Just open the door.
And you may not even realize that you opened it in the first place.
Well, you're not going to, because if you don't know about frequency and how it works, you've opened it subconsciously, whatever, It's open. They're in and out like.
Think about all the times you're driving and you just completely zone out and you're not mentally present when you're driving, and then you just end up
Don't
somewhere.
tell me, boss. Never do it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So from what I understand from talking to a lot of different types of non-human people, apparently, their definitions of invitation and permission are a whole lot different than what human people would typically consider. And so that is a massive psychological and moral difference, that means that the ways that you're going to end a relationship or a possession with a non-human person are going to be very different. And I always encourage people to be really careful when dealing with the occult, any type of religion, and when dealing with a stranger, because you never know who you are actually interacting with, for better or for worse. I always recommend that people be on their A game, be as polite, honest, and fair as you possibly can be. That is just my advice.
Yep.
And be very careful with your words.
Amen. Yes, because wordcraft is a thing. And in my opinion, human people are far too loose with their words and don't speak literally enough or maturely enough to maintain relationships with non-human people of most kinds.
Yes, because this might be over obvious, or I might just be. I'm not don't want to be patronizing or anything, but when you're writing, you are spelling, you are casting a spell.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
100%.
when you're a little kid in school, you learn to spell.
Mm-hmm.
So you spell casting because you put in certain letters together to create a certain word, and that certain word has a meaning. And then if you're writing it down, the intent that you're putting into that word when you're writing it, technically, is spell casting.
Think about when teachers used to make kids write on the chalkboard or whatever, like, I will behave, I will behave, I will. That's manifestation.
Yeah,
They're writing it into existence.
And brainwashing, honestly. At least I think so.
A lot of manifestation.
We all went to Hogwarts, but we was all MK Ultra'd. So,
I have
bit of both.
Right.
But that's what it is.
Yeah.
Every time you write something down, every time you say a particular phrase, you are casting a spell.
That's why everything is more powerful when you write it down, like your to-do list.
So someone told me to do this once. I was going through a bit of a crap bit in mid to late 20s, and someone said, whatever you're feeling, write it down. I'm writing it down. I've got stuff to do, and that isn't part of it. And one day it was a pretty low day, and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to write it down. And just started writing. Before I knew it, I'd written 2 A4 pages. Yeah. And when I'd written the last word and the last sentence, I felt 100 times better just to write it down and get out. It's like I'd drawn the negativity out of me by putting it on the paper. And I just felt so much better for doing it.
Yeah. So you were, in my understanding, expelling it from your auric field and from your psyche. So writing, I think, is a very powerful tool.
The way it was writing it was with intent. It was like determined and like anger and annoyed and just all the negative emotions that you can feel. And as soon as I'd done it, I felt 100 times, million times better.
Good. I'm very happy for you for that.
Makes you think when you read and go on autopilot and your mind creates all these pictures, is that the spell coming into existence?
Manifestation again.
Literally create whole universes.
Yeah, I agree.
The Harry Potter universes to people, like people know that like the back of their hand. They've created, a park at Universal.
Mm-hmm.
Rowling literally put that into existence by writing it.
Right.
Sorry, I was just going to say quickly, going back to Eric with his DNA, did he create that? because he's doing these 10,000 steps a day with this injection,
Yep.
and you was doing the video blogs. Most of the time, he's going out, he's doing the walks and the talk and all that, and was you creating this outcome, or was that already pre-written?
Oh.
Did you manifest your wet ears?
Yeah. Maybe he fell in a lake and can't remember.
It could be. Could be.
But it could. Because you've gone out with the intent to get healthy, feel better, and just feel good about yourself. So has that created all the good stuff that is showing in your DNA?
Yeah.
It could be.
This is deep.
It's very.
It is deep.
Would you like a lifesaver? Do you need a floaty?
Well, I'm still doing the 10,000 step a day thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's
You can see you can see the difference.
well, in another week and a half, I'm getting that second shot that I don't know what it is in my leg. That's coming up.
Same leg or different leg?
No,
other leg.
they do it in the same spot. See,
Oh,
like your
exact
questions
same
and all that.
spot.
See, I do a survey every single week on what I'm feeling that week. So in some ways, I'm not writing it down, but I get all these questions every week that I got to answer about, like, if my leg's feeling better, or did the walk's helping and all that. And and manifesting. You're making me think now, Tilly.
Oh,
You're making me think.
Next question: Could it just be a serum they're injecting you with, and it'd be a placebo?
Well, see, yeah, one of them is, and one of them is not. And I was thinking to myself, the first time they stuck something in my leg, did I really think it's that, or did I think it's the fever? Because
the real thing.
For a second, I thought my leg was feeling better, but then it's like hurting again. So now I'm wondering if when I get the second shot, is that going to be the real one? And what I felt the first time was all in my mind, because they don't tell you until you're fully done. And it's going to be trippy on what my mind thought of it at the time.
But then, are you now? Sorry about this, but are you now going to overthink this and it have an adverse effect?
Well, you can't help it, too.
Yeah. Sorry.
You can't help to overthink. I mean, really. I mean,
just,
because that seemed like it was a long time ago when I got that ejection. Now, what did I feel? But on the 9th, I get the second one. I'm gonna write it all down. This is also interesting.
You need to.
Write it down, manifest it.
I actually was talking to Doc. I was like, I'm worried that I'm going to not overthink it. I'm going to think it's helping, but it's really not. But is my mind taking over the control?
But what's the harm in thinking it's helping if that makes it
good? Because it produces, I don't know what they're called. I'm not that way trained or mind, but the chemical that it's creating and releasing from your mind will automatically start making you feel better because you're thinking it's doing that. And so you're on a positive high. But if you think it's doing you no good, you're going to be down and grumpy, and that's when your immune system and all that starts playing up, and you feel like crap, and you eat shit and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then that could also toss you into a quantum incarnate situation where you're switching into a different timeline. And that could work for better or for worse. And so you're saying that you can't help it. And I would encourage you to perhaps examine that belief, because I think that you may have more influence or control than what you are telling yourself that you do. So that's just some feedback, just some friendly advice. You don't have to take it. I care about you, and I'm just trying to help. That's all.
There you go.
Now we leave the show today with so many things on my mind now.
No, Eric is not going to sleep for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, and then after that shot, 2 weeks after that, then they're actually going to be taking blood from my arm into the machine. It goes back into the kneecap of the leg. We're taking the blood to clean it and they want to see if that blood can help regrow the damaged cartilage.
Ah,
Oh, all right. I hope it
regeneration.
works. Yeah.
Terminator.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
on. That's July 31st.
Yeah.
That what? 4 weeks? 4.5 weeks?
So shots coming, and that's coming.
Wow.
I really think that this world is headed more and more towards the integration of genetic and quantum therapies. And a lot of the time, at least in my opinion, those are intertwined. So please do keep us, or at least me, updated, because I really want to know. For anyone who may not know, I don't talk about this too often, but I think that this is appropriate. So I was born deathly allergic to sunlight. And so, it's been a pretty tough life in that way. However, a few months ago, after doing a ton of research and getting help from some genetic specialists, it turns out that a brand new therapy called dihydroberberine has completely put my son's sickness, my porphyria, into complete remission. And it works by acting on my mitochondria, the cells, and my genetic presentation. So anything is possible, really, I think.
Yeah. It's all about whether there's money in the treatments, whether or not big pharma pursues it.
Yeah, 100%.
Profit. It's all to do with
I
profit.
feel like they can do most everything right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think. Yeah. Dihydroberberine is extremely affordable, though, and it works originally. For example, I was investigating it as a treatment for a type of, you could say, genetic diabetes that I have. So I can't eat anything except for certain types of meat and have a little bit of cream and have some butter. That is all, as well as sometimes some wild caught salmon and some eggs. Anything else makes me incredibly ill. And so originally I was using the dihydro to see if it would allow me to get more and other types of nutrition, eating fruits and vegetables and grains and stuff like that. It did not work at all for that. Because apparently I'm also very allergic to oxalates. However, when I was doing the research, I realized that it interacts with certain pathways in the liver, which has a lot to do with porphyria. I took the medication for 6 weeks, went out into the sun, realized that I was not at all having any kind of reactions. And now, as long as I keep a certain amount of the dihydroberberine in my system, I can go out into the sun just like anyone else.
Tilly, do you realize 100 years ago you would have been a vampire? Like,
I know.
Then, you eat meat mostly and you can't go out into the sun. Like, it's incredible what science has explained.
Right. Oh, yeah. And a lot of people, they still avoid me because I'm weird. Like, when I go to parties a lot of the time, I can't eat the food there. I can't drink the foods. And so I'm the creeper who doesn't eat or drink anything. And I tend to be a bit of an introvert, believe it or not, in my personal life. So I'm just a very strange party guest. And then when people do learn about my diet, I have to eat a large amount of rare beef because there is a certain compound, a liquid compound in the beef that keeps me alive. And without it, I have very painful symptoms and I'm dying a slow and painful death. So yes, that is where the myth of the vampires comes from in part, but there are also a few other things, but that's just another story for another day.
Well, I want to know what's the rare beef? I mean, is it a certain kind? Is it like a venison type kind of a beef?
Me personally, I do the best on grass-fed, grain-finished ribeye.
Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah, yeah. So biologically, I have to have, I think it's called the hemoglobin, if I'm remembering properly. That's the blood, you could say, in the steak. and that is what I need in order to be able to make the blood, I'm sorry, the iron in my blood, and also to be able to even begin to synthesize sunlight, because the sunlight for people with porphyria, it essentially makes your red blood cells explode and it gives you extreme anemia.
Yeah, because I know the hemoglobin helps glues the blood together.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are lots of different ways to incarnate, and I am grateful that now there are lots of different therapies here that are able to help people live happier, longer, healthier lives. And I think, Eric, too, that what you've got going on is very important, at least to some degree. And I have full faith that you'll be able to handle healing whatever damage you've got going on physically.
And mentally.
And mentally, that too. You got this.
Well, that's it. Once you start feeling physically healthy, then your mental health usually goes with it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they go hand in hand, really. Like, if you don't feel good mentally, you're not going to feel good physically. And if you don't feel good physically, you don't really feel good mentally.
Yeah, I agree. All the way.
There you go.
But then,
as Joe said, just get a new titanium knee.
There you go.
But then sometimes mentally it could get you, because like I have been losing a lot of weight. You know, I've lost over 37 pounds to get some weight off the leg. But what kills you is sometimes you still get that knee pain, and then sometimes back in your mind you're thinking to yourself, I'm losing everything I can, eating better, I still get pain. You know what I mean? It's like trying to find that happy medium.
Yeah.
You do get upset with yourself, like you're doing all this, take the weight off, and then here I am. One day I'm at the urgent care. You know, I had to go here, I had to go there. You know, trying to do that.
I have a suggestion for you that may really help with the pain, and I use these myself. Have you ever heard of the LifeWave X39 patches?
Not at all.
Okay, so it's a type of semi-quantum therapy. It uses the refraction of light to reflect it into your cells, which activates your own copper peptide stores within the body. I have been using these for about a year now, and when I tell you that I can slap it on a bruise or a wound, anything like that, or if I have a migraine, put it on my forehead, it starts to work, at least for me, within like 5 minutes. It also works on swelling, and I think that might be a good thing for you to look into. I don't sell them. I am not endorsed by them. They don't even know who the heck I am, really. I'm just another random customer.
Andy, what's up? We don't
What's
got a
that?
sponsor?
Not yet. Working on it.
Kind of have a sponsor. What was your Disney card thing? It didn't work?
Rip off.
You know what else is interesting, Chili, about the mind over matter type of deal? Because like I said, I'm not embarrassed to tell people that I do go to mental health places and all that. You know, I was at one just on Wednesday at the VA, or Tuesday at the VA, doing all those questions I said earlier. And then, you know, you got to open up. One of the key things is to be honest with everything. And then when you're honest, next day, your mind is filled with so much stuff you just brought out. You know, and on air, sometimes I'll get these ice headaches, like feels like a freaking dagger, you know, stabbing into you. And usually I get maybe one a day. Yesterday I had over 3 of them, and it's like was opening up, like letting stuff out. It was so hard on the brain or something. You know, maybe that's what was causing all these extra migraines and headaches, because my mind was going 10 miles per hour. I mean, I don't know. I even had to sit and note. The doctor's gonna go. I don't know what it is, but today I feel like three. You know, and you get those things, it hurts.
If I may, you're definitely onto something. So I used to work in extreme trauma recovery. That's also where I was training. I was going to be a psychologist or a counselor, whatever you'd like to say, and we were always cautioned to be very gentle with patients and not to cover too much ground, even if the patient wanted to, within one session, because the stress hormones that are released within the brain when reliving traumatic or troubling events can activate excess cortisol and other stress hormone, and it changes the brain chemistry, which can trigger migraines and other physical symptoms. And so you may have just overdone it a little bit, but that probably wasn't your fault. It's up to, as I understand, the professionals to regulate the pace of the therapy or the conversations, especially if it is about more difficult topics.
I think you're right, because when I first got in there, they had a box of clean, like napkins, whatever. Like, you gonna need these tissues? I don't know. Are you gonna need these? I go, I don't know. I'm like, what am I in for? When they're already asking you, like they're already predicting you're gonna cry or something. Like this, I'm gonna be in it for this.
It probably could have been handled a little bit better from a trauma standpoint, but trauma recovery is such a niche specialty. I can't hold that against them necessarily, you know?
I think you should be my therapist.
That's what we do, on-air therapy sessions.
I'm serious.
Yeah. That's our next podcast.
Yeah,
there you go. I mean, everyone, please understand the disclaimer that I am not a registered therapist of any kind, although I do offer sessions privately as a life coach. That's what I have to call myself now. It's the exact same information, except that I cannot say that I am a psychologist. I cannot say that I am giving you formal clinical advice. I'm just here as a friend, and I like when people give me donations for my care.
Cool.
Did I cover my butt well enough?
You did.
Yeah.
Disclaimer: we are not medical professionals. Do not take anything we say seriously.
Yeah.
Amen. Please. Entertainment purposes only. But for real, Eric, if you are interested, you're welcome to hit me up.
Yeah. When any of us ever say, I'm a doctor, we're not real doctors.
Well, the key thing is what I think what you're doing is you're allowing the person to release stuff. And that's the best thing, is just to listen to somebody and get it off your chest, because there's so many things you need to get off, and you don't feel comfortable sometimes with your own family and stuff. Man, I feel like we are doing a session. I wonder if the crowd like, I'm out of here. This ain't paranormal. This is real life.
But it was all paranormal.
But you know what? It kind of is paranormal.
It's all connected.
It's the negativity and the possession, like what we was talking about earlier. So, but on that note, we're gonna have to come to an end because we've gone over the 2-hour mark. Believe it or not,
we have already.
2 hours free. Right? Yes, we have.
We barely talked about the Beast of Bray Road.
So next week on the Beast of Bray Road, we will be talking about.
We'll be talking about everything except the Beast of Bray Road.
we briefly covered the Beast of Bray Road, and then we went off on tangents.
Yeah.
I'm not going off on
tangents. They were like substantial conversations.
All right then. Right. Tell you what, we watch 2 other documentaries on it, and then we do it proper next month.
Right.
Yeah?
We will try.
We will give it a 100% on. What's the word?
Unfettered.
Yes. I haven't got a clue what I'm saying. Don't know.
We will give it the.
I'll give it a 100%. Don't know.
Words. You know the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say.
Well,
We'll watch it. We'll talk about it.
Your wetness.
We've not talked.
Why does it sound so grody hearing someone else say it now?
Oh, Eric. What if you have been taken by the Beast of Bray Road, and that's why you've got ear wetness?
Because it gave you a wet willy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Freddy Krueger style.
I wish you guys could see this, because it says here on my thing right now. I'm looking at an earwax type. Eric, you're likely to have wet earwax. That is exactly what it says. I'm likely to have
named you and everything. That was written just for you. Nobody else in the universe.
I showed everybody it today on my show. I showed everybody the website to show them everything. It says.
Did you show them your box?
Yeah.
And I didn't know that was coming.
Just get a little funnel. Right, on that note, we're going to go. Thank you for coming on. We will do the Beast of Bray Road.
We promise.
Yeah, eventually we'll get to it. It might take like 16 parts, but we'll get
there.
And for that, I apologize.
Yeah, sorry, we were instigators.
Do you know what? It's been a really interesting show. So before we go, please do stay and watch the outro because I've put a lot of hard work into that. On Monday is a pre-record that I did with Tommy, the birthday boy, Cullum, talking about him when he used to do stand-up. Next Wednesday is going to be me, Nicole, and Daryl. It's only going to be about 30-40 minutes, and we're just going to do a bit of an intro of what exactly is going to be happening in the podcast. Then, next Friday, we have Brandon Thomas. He is going to be talking about the paranormal, dimensions, time, everything, but he's also going to cover how psychedelics can affect it.
And then we're all going to do psychedelics.
Well, need. So he's getting them in his leg.
Sure, you talk about it for 10 minutes and everything else is open game.
So, yeah. The special guest was going to be Chris Meek from Scottish Paranormal Podcast, but he didn't finish work till late. He's going on holiday tomorrow, and he's got to drive from Scotland. He's got to get from Scotland down to Manchester for 5:30 tomorrow morning, and it's a long-ass drive. We
promise special guest. We promise we're going to stay on track. Just don't expect things out of us.
No, just if we turn up, it's always a bonus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
It's a good show anyway.
Right, so please do watch the outro. Pre-record Monday, live Wednesday, live Friday. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Tilly. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you, everyone who has joined as a member. As I said, that's going to stay on there for a month, and that will get released once the new one is out and going live. Our guest at the end of July is... I can't remember his name.
We'll tell you next time.
Yeah, tell you. Yeah. No, I need to know. I need to know.
Oh, and Andy, would you mind hanging out with me for a moment after we're done?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Thank you, darling.
Right.
And Nicole, Eric, of course, you're welcome to join. I would like your input too, if you're able.
Right.
I gotta hit the road. We're heading up to Lake George tonight.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, sorry. Brian Sung is our guest for the members only guest next month. So, and don't forget, on Wednesday, we're going to be releasing the next 10 new members for the monthly free. So, enjoy. We'll chat to you in a minute. Everyone else, goodbye. Have a great weekend. I'll let you know what goes on at the Paracon. And yeah, that's it. So, have a wonderful weekend. Might see some of you there. Might not. Don't know. We'll see.
Night, everybody.
Oh, we won't see. See you later. Bye-bye.
Saturday morning. Bye.
Goodbye.